Live, people. Imagine a place where everyone is happy and they live like a family. We are live. Welcome to the service, everybody.
4 bodies, 6 bodies, 10, 12, 14, 16, 19. Grand total to 39.
39 people.
Federal agents first confronted a heavily armed religious cult near Waco.
911, what's your emergency?
There are 75 men around our building and they're shooting at us in Mount Carmel. Tell them there are children and women in here to call it off. I hear a gun.
Who are these people?
It was such a love affair. It was such enthusiasm, such joy, and we worked such long days. But you just had the energy to do it.
A number of people simply followed fairly
classic
blindly
show. I haven't seen this in so long.
Even though they were intelligent.
Come on in, everybody. Welcome to the service.
They didn't, because they surrendered themselves to this.
This is where we expose the cults and the sinners who lead them. Make sure you subscribe to the channel right here, Cult Rehab, every week on the Drip, live stream on YouTube. Join into the comment section. Join the congregation. Listen to real brainwashing stories, sex scandals, cult rituals,
rambling.
unholy practices.
Thanks for coming,
all
everyone.
performed by these sinners heading up the cult. Listen to cult survivors getting interviewed and cult leaders getting roasted. Is someone trying to recruit you? Well, screw them and their cult. Join the anti-cult cult right here on Cult Rehab. Too many cults? Maybe I said cult too many times. I don't know.
Oh my
Sign
God.
up, come on in, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it for the community, for the culture, figure out what's going on, do the forgiveness. God is great. So make sure you watch Cult Rehab. It's not a cult, it's an anti-cult cult.
It's so weird hearing your own voice. That is so weird. Thanks for coming, everyone. I love you. You are loved. Today we're almost doing a reverse Cult Rehab because we got a very special guest here. He does his own show. Oh my God, I am saying cult way too many times. Stop using the word cult. He has a show. He's Ex-Scientologist, and he has a whole channel about that. But I was watching his channel. You know, today I might need to do the cult rehab on me, because while I was watching it, they were making fun of a YouTube channel, like an alt spirituality. You know me. You know I'm into spirituality. I mean, I'm here at a digital ashram. You can see it behind me. So it's like, I'm here at the ashram. They were talking about spirit sciences and Teal Swan. And honestly, I'm a huge fan of both. So this is going to be interesting interview. But great. He has an incredible channel. I know most of you already love him, and it's going to be a great episode. Very excited to introduce Chris Shelton, everybody. Chris, thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. I think this is going to be fun.
Thanks, man. How'd you get in? Okay, well, let's start with just a quick intro about you, how you got into the YouTube channel, and then we got to talk about Teal Swan at some point because huge fan.
Yeah,
huge fan.
She's awesome, isn't she?
Isn't she great? Oh, so you're into it too, kind of like you do a little meditation?
No.
Nothing like that, eh?
Nothing like that. No, I mean, I have done meditation, but not Teal Swan's brand of anything. Yeah.
Okay. Damn. How'd you get caught up in Scientology? That's wild. That is a wild story.
But kind of born in. I mean, kind of. And my folks got in when I was about 3.
Okay.
So raised with it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then what's the most severe brainwash tactics you saw? And then you got into it, right? Like you got into it.
Yeah.
It's like if I joined the Hare Krishnas, it's like I'm Hindu, but then they got me later.
Yeah, it's a stereotypical thing. That's right. It's nasty stuff. I don't know. What can I say?
So like, how old were you when you got in again? Like the second time they got you?
Well, okay. So I got in when I was about 3, right?
Oh, 3. Okay.
That's my family got in.
You can blame the parents on that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's second gen, right? It's a second generation. So
yeah.
So it's totally my parents' fault. And then when I was 15 is when I really got reeled in.
Okay.
because I did the same thing everybody does. I went in, I did the personality test, and they did their schmeal with me, right? They did their warm, reading with me with the personality test, and it hooked me, man. I was 15 years old. I was in school. I was high school. I couldn't get dates. I couldn't get girls to talk to me.
Okay.
And I do this personality test, and this woman, this very attractive woman, tells me, well, it looks like you're having a hard time getting dates and you're having a hard time talking to girls. And I was like, I thought she was reading my mind.
Wow. You're just like, how did you know?
Right? Exactly. 15 years old in high school, clearly never got laid.
Just like pimply faced. It's in her book. She's like, I'm doing a reading on you. You have trouble with girls? You're like, what?
Exactly.
That's so silly.
So I totally fell for it. And they got me with what they get a lot of people with, right? Which is this communications class. And and I did that, and I thought I was the bee's knees with communication, and I still couldn't get any dates, but I didn't
that's frustrating, man. But
I didn't really even notice because I was so high on myself at that point.
I'm disappointed because I thought they had some powerful teachings. Like, I thought you could come out of Scientology and get laid at least.
Yeah, no, that's not what was happening with me.
What about inside Scientology? Because I know a lot of guys who go to church to do it. They just go to like straight up real church. They go, and even one time I was listening to Kevin Samuels, and he said he was at church, and the guy goes, how many men in the crowd? And like 30 people put their hands up. And then he goes, how many women? Like 5,000 people put their hands up. And he's just like, this is on you, gentlemen. This is your fault. And he's like yelling at them from the pulpit. But yeah, wow. How's Scientology? Is it like that? Do they have like that good ratio? No.
It's Scientology has a how do I put this? They're pretty sexually inhibited.
Right. So you're gonna lose the girls with that.
Yeah, there's pretty stringent morality. It's not some purity culture thing. I don't mean to communicate that, but they're pretty conservative when it comes to sexual stuff. And so guys and girls, or guys and women, are not going in there to get laid. That's not what you get in Scientology.
It would be better if they did, honestly. Like then you'd have some kind of a community, and like it builds and people like there's a lot of good churches like that. I think they have a good mission with that. A lot of mosques do it too. Yeah, and Hindus, they just try to okay, let's all get you all married and having kids or whatever. But Scientology, are they coming at it more from an efficiency angle? They're coming at it from like, don't waste your time with dating, and this is all a waste of time.
Oh no, I don't mean to imply that.
Oh, sorry.
I certainly had girlfriends in Scientology. I met, my first wife in Scientology.
Wow, that's hard to get out then. Damn.
Oh, that was one of the things that kept me in for so long. Yeah, was that I was married.
Oh, so in the end, they did get you a girl. Well, they did deliver.
I guess they did. Yeah, I guess they did.
Was that your first girl? Like, that was your first girl? No. Okay, cool.
Wow. No, I was at Santa Barbara for 8 years, off and on girlfriends.
Yeah.
And then when I was 25 years old, I went to Los Angeles and I joined the Sea Org. And that's when I went all in. Yeah. And within 6 months, I was married.
Damn. See, that's serious. Well, if you're in the org,
you can't have sex in the Sea Org until you get married.
They got you at 25, eh? They're like, get them in, lock them in with that. Damn.
Right. That's right.
And so was she above you? Position of power?
No. We were co-workers.
Okay. But but you just met each other there.
Exactly. We met each other on L. Ron Hubbard Way at 4 a.m.
Oh, that's romantic. That's nice.
Yeah.
4 a.m. You're both coming from your brainwash sessions.
Right. I was coming from cleaning all night, and she was coming from filing all night. And we met, and we're like, oh, hi. And I happened to have, this was just such a funny scene. I happened to have a couple milk crates in my hands because I was doing a bunch of back and forth. So I put them down on the sidewalk, and we sat down and had a little break and got to start talking, and that's how we met.
Oh, you sat on the milk crates?
Yeah, I had a couple milk crates.
That's great. That's a nice like little squat. You can just sit down and have a little talk there.
Exactly.
Fall in love. That's cute, man. Dude, that's so rough that they're just making you do manual labor. You think the first conversation would be like, can you believe this shit? You got me working here until 4 a.m.
Yeah, well, we were a little more than brainwashed by that point. We were in the Sea Org. Those are the folks who signed the billion-year contracts.
Oh, so they got a billion-year contract with you?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. That
Wow.
was
I heard they make kids sign that.
They have.
So legally, any issues there? They try to mess with you? No, nothing.
No, it's not that kind of contract. It's more of a symbolic commitment, right? It's just a piece of paper that says I commit myself to the next billion years to the aims of Scientology through the C organization, and then you start working, and it's a full-time. By that point, it's 24/7, full-time, 365. You're just on as a Scientology worker. That's all you're doing. And the Sea Org is called the Sea Org, SEA, like the ocean.
Yep.
It's a paramilitary outfit. They have naval uniforms and
wow,
sir, no sir, how high sir, and ranks and ratings, all that stuff. It's all part of that.
Gun? What kind of guns?
No guns.
No gun, eh? That's nice.
No,
that's good for them.
Scientology's not overtly violent like that.
That's good. Man,
yes. Actually, I should say it's more like the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
But they take it all very seriously. They have promotions every year, and and all that stuff. Yeah,
you're truly on a mission from God. They're like, we're working.
You're on a mission from Ron, but yeah, that's right.
Ron. It's Ron, eh? They don't even go to God. They just go Ron.
Let's go to Ron. That's right. It's not a worship. Let's be clear, but it's a semi-worship.
He's the prophet, man. He got to connect.
Pretty much.
He just seems like a really good science fiction writer. The guy was a prolific writer, and at some point he goes, why don't I just write a religion and then brainwash him with it?
Pretty much. Actually, you pretty much just nailed it. I mean, it's not really that simple, but that actually is pretty much what happened.
Life is complex, man. I mean, writing is hard. A lot of Hollywood people, a lot of people trying to make it in that business. Things don't work out. That's why the cults are right there to get them. They're like, just come on in over here, then we can take you. So, were either of you actors or trying to get into Hollywood?
No, not at all. I was raised. I wanted to be a writer. Actually, I was really big on becoming the next Stephen King, and I was doing a lot of writing when I was in school. And then they recruited me though right out of high school. I started working for the church in Santa Barbara right after I graduated. I never really had anything other than like a part-time fill in the rent kind of, money kind of job while I was dedicating my life to Scientology.
And you're going in, you're like, I'm dedicating myself. I'm going in, let's do this. And what are we talking about? Like you're working till 4 a.m. every day? Like you got to go to a job and do their work?
Well, yeah, what I was doing is I was working full-time nights and weekends at the Church of Scientology in Santa Barbara. So that was about a 35, 40-hour a week work schedule because I'd come in during the day if I ever could.
Okay.
And then I was working a full-time job during the day or maybe a part-time job during the day, but something substantial enough to make my rent. And this was for about 8 or 9 years that I lived in Santa Barbara.
Wow. It teaches you a work ethic. It's almost like getting a law degree, 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, I worked hard. And in fact, that was one of my sort of reasons why I went to the Sea Org when I was 25 after doing that for, 8 years. I was like, well, I've been working so much. I've pretty much been working a Sea Org schedule anyway. Yeah. I wasn't. I did not know that the Sea Org was substantially worse, but I was working 80-hour weeks when I was in Santa Barbara.
And the Sea Org makes you do more. Like that's the light. That's light, 80 hours.
Yeah, that's the light version.
Wow.
In the Sea Org, I was routine. Your day is, there are no days off. There's no going home at night. That's not what's going on. There's dorms and if you get married, you get a room. And that's your room with your wife or your spouse or whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, those big blue buildings you see pictures of.
Yeah.
Okay, the one with the angled wings.
The one that looks like a man watching over you. Is that in Hollywood?
Yeah, the one with that looks like a man watching over you.
It looks like shoulders and then the arms coming out.
Yeah, that's right. That building. Yeah, that's that, and it's an old hospital complex. That building is where we lived.
And you lived in the good big building. You lived in the big building.
That big building is the dorm. That's.
I always saw this as like a hugging, like, come on in, baby. It's so inviting.
Yeah, well.
So you lived in here and they had dorms and everything?
Yes, that's where I live. That building right there. That's right. And there's a bunch of dorm rooms in there, all those white curtains covering them up. And like I said, if you're married, you get a room to yourself. And so that's what my wife and I had. and that's where we lived. But we were only there like at night. I mean, it was, you work from about 8:30 in the morning. You have to get up, get some breakfast, and then you report to muster. So it was about 8:30, 8:45. And then we worked routinely. I mean, just as a matter of course, we were working until 11:30, midnight. And there were frequent all-nighters, frequent late nights.
Wow. That's like being a lawyer. Lawyers are like that. They just work. Like you come out with the ability to just write a book. I know some lawyers like that. Like they can just pound out a book or whatever.
Yeah. You work hard. And there's lots of different kinds of work that people might end up doing in the Sea Org because there's all kinds of jobs. But but the hours are grueling. And it's 24. It's a 24/7 operation. So I was a manager for many years. I managed Scientology delivery in the Western United States. And
delivery meaning like teaching?
Yeah, okay. The Scientology business model is they sell classwork, courses, and they sell what they call counseling or auditing.
Yes.
And they sell that basically by the hour. It's actually in chunks of 12.5 hours, which they call an intensive. You buy 12.5 hours of counseling or auditing, and you pay, $3,200 or $4,000 or whatever for that chunk of time.
Okay.
You buy lots of intensives because you're going to need a lot of them to do all the auditing work that you have to do to progress up the levels of Scientology. So that's the business model, is you're either doing classwork where you're studying L. Ron Hubbard's books and lectures, or you're getting the auditing where it's actually being applied to you. And both of those things cost money. And we would keep weekly track of the production of all of the churches of Scientology across the Western United States. And when I managed them, there were 34 churches. So these 34 organizations every week would send in their statistics, their numbers for the week. How much did you make? How many hours of auditing were delivered? How many people completed courses? I mean, very exact statistics.
They're so on it. They're on top of the numbers.
On the numbers, right? And the most important numbers, of course, were income-related numbers. How much in book sales, how much in lecture sales, how much total gross income. All that was all broken down. So all of these statistics would then come in and they would be analyzed week by week by us at the management level. And we would compare them to the last week and how are they doing on a trend? Are they trending up or trending down? And that kind of thing. And our job was to push to get those statistics going up. That was our primary function as managers.
Yeah, we had someone on from her dad started LifeSpring. Alicia, her name, and LifeSpring. It had a similar curriculum, but I guess the whole thing, like they were always trying to get their numbers up, like Scientology. Scientology is like obviously probably the most powerful organization in that. I guess like because this curriculum. Is it like they find low confidence people and then they're like, we give you confidence? Is that what the curriculum is? Like, what's this curriculum that they're giving you? Or is it just like a hustle curriculum?
Well,
like, what are we learning here?
At the end of the day, the whole thing is a money-making scam. Let's be super clear about that.
100%.
Yeah, because I don't say that often enough, early enough, right? And so people start listening to me talk about it and they think there's something to it. And there really isn't. It's very bad for you. I have gone on to study psychology at a master's level, and I can tell you, we've broken down on my channel why this stuff is bad for you psychologically. That all being said, the belief set in Scientology is that you are an immortal spiritual being or an entity called a Thetan, and you have lived nearly an infinite amount of time into the past.
Okay,
and you cannot die. You will live forever into the future. There is no end for you.
This is same as Hindu so far, so I'm worried, but go on.
And Hubbard drew from a lot of different places.
Yeah, I heard he took some stuff.
But Scientology is its own thing, and I'll tell you why. So we're all spiritual entities. We are living life after life after life because the body is like a set of clothes you wear. It's something you have. You're not your body. It's just something you use to interact with other spiritual entities and this physical universe that we're all trapped in. That's the Hubbard language for this, is that we're all stuck here, and Earth is kind of a prison planet, and we're all trapped here because we have had so much trauma. So much crap has happened to us over all these years, billions and billions of years, by the way, that we don't even want to remember our past lives. We can't remember all that stuff. It's just too traumatic. And the idea of auditing is it's what opens the door to that and gets you remembering your past lives and more powerful as a spiritual entity so that you won't forget again in the future, and you will regain your native spiritual abilities, which are basically comparable to how most people think about God.
It is actually. It's very close to Teal Swan Buddhism.
Yeah, it's similar. It is similar in a lot of ways. The thing with Scientology is it's ultra specific.
Yeah,
it makes very exact promises about what it will do for you, and the whole thrust of it is it's all about empowering you by making you into this conceptual God-like being.
Yeah, you become a God man.
That's right. Now, nobody is a God man in Scientology. It never happened, right? But that's the promise, and that's what people are paying for. That's the carrot that they are chasing. And it's a very well-described, well-defined carrot. It's really, Hubbard really figured out how to polish this thing and make it look very appealing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fall for it.
So you went into psychology, you said, right?
Yep.
Isn't even the goal of psychology a little bit like this? Like, are we not trying to heal our traumas? I'd say the only difference with this in Buddhism, what you said, is that in Buddhism, you are God and you are made out of love. And then this whole life is just you playing a make-believe of not being loved so that you can remember that you're love again. But there's no animosity towards you. You know? That's where I saw the difference there. But I know he took a lot of stuff from Buddhism.
Well, he did. He also took a lot of things from everywhere. Scientology's real roots are in 19th century spiritualism and occultism and Aleister Crowley's black magic and sex magic, right? Hubbard was a practitioner of that before he started Scientology.
And you're not into any of that?
No. This is no Scientologist is aware of these connections.
Oh, right. Okay.
It took me a long time after I got out. I've been out for almost 10 years now. And it took me a long time to even accept that Hubbard had an occult background and what that was all about. Because it's a real hard thing to get your wits around when you think Scientology is all about personal spiritual freedom and spiritual immortality, and you come to find out actually no, it's all about making Hubbard immortal and not us at all. It's a very screwed up thing. There's so many layers of deception in Scientology. It takes a long time to drill down all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I guess the other thing that majorly differs is that there's this claim that it knows exactly what the truth is. Whereas in Buddhism, they do say it's like a great mystery. Like even in Taoism, they're like, it's a mystery. Nobody exactly knows because you're God and you're
definitely the opposite. Yeah. Scientology is the total opposite of that. Hubbard learned early on that people really crave answers and certainty.
Yeah.
And they'll take anything over nothing.
Yeah.
That's just an emotional need we have. And that's what cults do, is they play on your emotional needs. It's not your fault you have emotional needs. We all have them. Yeah. It's just part of being human. But the predators take advantage of that, and Hubbard was one of those. And so what he would sell is certainty. And he actually called Scientology the science of certainty.
Amazing. That's so smart.
Yeah. So.
Well, I have to remind myself, because we were doing, when we first started this channel, we were doing more con artists. And I have to remind myself that the con in con artist is confidence. Confidence is the whole game.
That's right.
And even if you don't explicitly say it, having this certainty in your tone and knowing what the plan is and knowing where we're going and this and that, it is magnetic. People are like, oh, okay, I'll just do what this person says. And because there's almost an instant feeling of calmness and like, oh, okay. Daddy's here. Someone knows, you know?
Exactly. That's
So-
it's built into us.
It is built into us. We need it.
It's not something you have to think about.
Yeah. It's an automatic behavior.
That's right.
That's wild. So you went into therapy though.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting into a lot of cool new therapies. We're going to get to Teal Swan in a second, but like the cool new therapies that I'm getting into, like, have you heard of inner child healing or
Not as such.
or I think it's called inner family systems.
Tell me about that.
It's basically teaches that inside of everyone there is there's a person who has 7 C's. It's a little bit similar to what you're saying, and it is very close to like Buddhist. It's basically like Buddhism, but they're saying that the true self is compassionate, calm, curious, connected, confident, courageous, creative, and has clarity, clear, whatever. So that's who you truly are. Anything that you're not feeling like that exactly, that's all some kind of trauma creating a guilt in you, or creating like a trance of doubt, giving you doubt or whatever. Very close to Buddhism. So they split into 3 different types of trauma people that you have. So like the inner child is the one that you're kind of going into free in this therapy, but it seems very modern. It seems very like close to what people are studying right now. But there's like 3 types of people. There's like managers, firefighters, and exiles. I think the exile is the kid and they're hiding in a jail. And then there's a manager and a firefighter. You know, now that I'm telling it to you, it does sound a little kooky, doesn't it?
It's a little too specific, and to broadly generalize the entire human race into this, I'm a little bit, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah.
I guess so.
In one chart. Have you heard of, okay, how about the body keeps the score?
I have heard of that. I've not read that book, but I am familiar with some of its tenets.
So similar thing. It's kind of saying underneath it all, same with Buddhism. This book is kind of saying that underneath it all, your true nature is this calm, confident, connected, creative person, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And your childhood traumas are what's getting in the way of that. And those traumas are actually stored in your body. So he teaches about like that kind of training and stuff like that. So like, do you get to that in therapy as a you said you got a psychology degree?
Well, I do, but that doesn't mean I'm not a therapist.
Right. Okay.
I got it. My master's degree is in the psychology of coercive control.
Okay.
So I have specialized very much in the kind of thing that happens in domestic partnerships or, domestic violence, cults, gangs, trafficking, places where control is being exerted over people in a malicious, destructive, even violent way.
China.
Well, very much so, right?
Man.
Like how do we look at predators? How do we look at, high control authoritarian groups and authoritarians?
Yeah.
What is it that they're actually doing to people? There's a sociological perspective and there's a psychological perspective. And so I kind of have my feet in both of those camps with what I do.
That's great, because I do feel like, and even I was watching your episode 221 with someone who went to the Teal Swan cult, and great episode. And, in that, you're talking about, like, it seems like everyone, even when you went, and even when I've almost joined, it's always at points of like weakness. There's always like we do have this need in us.
Yep.
And, that's why I'm into people like Teal Swan or whatever. Like, I'm into that stuff because I'm like, there's an answer there. It's so close. Like, they're all like a step away from being a cult. Or, I mean, maybe she is actually. It sounds like it.
I think she is, personally.
Yeah. But then what is the acceptable teachings? Are there any? Is this life just a mystery and you got to grope your way through and figure it out yourself? Like, is there anywhere to go that makes more sense?
Well, it's a great question and a really tough one, because it's, if I start giving definitive answers, then I'm becoming my own level of cult leader, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's kind of a funny thing, right? I've spent the last 10 years now unlearning a lot of crap that my guru gave me, right? So to speak.
Yeah.
And having to kind of relearn and rethink things. And it becomes apparent when you really dive deep into why people believe the things they believe and why do smart people fall for stupid things and all that kind of stuff, it becomes very apparent that we have these emotional needs and that they need to be met. And it doesn't particularly matter from person to person to person how they are met. as long as they are met, right? And so some
Yeah.
people choose wisely in how they go about meeting these needs, and some people don't think so critically or skeptically about how they go about doing it.
Yeah.
And when you fall for some guy's promises of what he or she is going to give you, deliver to you, impart to you, turn you into, or transform you into, these are promises that are almost routinely broken.
Yeah, they can't.
No.
You can't promise it.
No, you got to really, my approach now, pretty much when it comes to this kind of a broad question, is I go, well, look, you really got to figure stuff out for yourself, because nobody's ever going to know you better than you do. And nobody's going to have all the experiences and education and culture that you've had. It's your life.
Yeah.
So the answers that you need are out there, maybe, but you got to find them, and if you're looking for somebody else to give it to you, there's, to the degree you're putting your trust and faith in bad people, you're going to have trouble.
So someone like this Spirit Science, which I'm not proud to admit, I bought the class, the 7-day transformation. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. At the time, I think I was just buying. I was like, any course under like $100, I'll buy it as research, whatever.
Sure.
I quite did enjoy the class though, and I can't think of like what I was trying to go through and be like, what's the issue with these guys? Like, I don't know what it is exactly. Could you? I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know about this, but I can
Right.
speak in general to the fact that if people want to change, if they're looking for a change, they generally have, even if it's only at a subconscious level, some kind of idea of what they want to change into.
Yeah.
And there are any number of psychological ways that you can change.
Yes.
But what the trap I think we fall into is we get this idea that because something happened to us, it must be because of the reason that this individual explains it to us. In other words, I can go into a Dianetics auditing session.
Yep.
And recall a time I was 5 years old when I had a dog bite me or something, and have this big epiphany about how that's some reason that I've always been afraid of animals or dogs or teeth or, any number of things, right? And I go, oh, wow, yeah, I forgot all about that time when I was 5. Holy cow, wow, that's amazing. Or I could accept L. Ron Hubbard's explanation for the whole thing, which is that trauma comes from my reactive mind. And my reactive mind is this boogeyman subconscious mind that Hubbard says exists. And in that reactive mind is stored not just that dog bite trauma, but all the trauma I've ever experienced in the last 4 quadrillion years.
Yeah.
And so the Dianetics process that I just had that caused me to have this nice memory, well, actually, what you did was you blew this charge, and that's why you feel so good. And if you want to feel that good again, come back and we'll blow more of that charge for you. And where I'm going with this is that explanation becomes the only explanation you think about or think with.
Yeah.
For why you had that experience. But the fact of the matter is, I could give you 20 other explanations for why you felt so good remembering something when you were 5. But people get really honed in on, well, I had this experience, and L. Ron Hubbard tells me it's because of my engrams. That's the word he uses.
Engrams,
so
okay.
That must be it. And they just
got the engrams.
And it's like, that's the mistake we make.
Yeah.
Is we buy somebody else's bullshit reason why something happened instead of really looking at, okay, what just happened to me? Something special just happened to me. Why and what was that? And how would I do that again? Or do I even need to? Because what happens with Scientology and these other things is people get addicted to it.
Yeah, that is an issue.
In
the meditation game, this is happening too, because have you heard of like shadow work?
With Teal, yes, I have.
Yeah, she does shadow work. And see, shadow work seems like it makes a lot of sense. It seems like it's what Carl Jung, which is again, I don't. Would you learn about Carl Jung in therapy, or is he seen as a bit of a kooky, silly guy?
Well, Jung was a guy who was important and influential along the line of the development of psychotherapy and psychological principles, but it's not like Carl Jung figured out people, and ever since Carl Jung existed, the world has, we've all been very understandable now. Jung had all kinds of goofy ideas about dreams, and he had some interesting stuff to say about archetypes, which I find interesting. Jordan Peterson talks about that a little bit, but that's that's about the only thing Jordan Peterson talks about that I've found any value in.
No, but there is value in like the whole idea of like for me, it just seems so accurate, and they all seem to have the same thing. Like I see where Scientology is going too far. I see where Jehovah's Witness goes too far with let's say with shadow work, where it does look kooky now that I'm going to tell you like how people actually do it. Because like you do auditing, right? In the meditation world or in this whole world, and I would go from like occult to Carl Jung to Buddhist to like there's almost like this positive psychology, or I don't want to call it positive psychology, like some kind of like home therapy movement where people are getting together to do a meditation. You come in, they'll tell you like, okay, we're going to go in. Like even I teach a loving kindness meditation. I teach with the Buddhist technique of going back and sitting with yourself as a child when you felt lonely. And you come out of it feeling really good. People come out of it like crying, whatever. But then a week later, they'll be like, I feel better. I feel like maybe there's some kind of thing in me. And even that book that I was saying, The Body Keeps the Score, he talks about that too. A couple of them talk about it, that in our childhood, so like, I don't agree with this thing of like, even it's passing on from other lifetimes. I think like within our life, there's enough traumatic experiences. I've heard it said that like in the first 7 years, a bunch of things are installed. They're mostly just about like someone didn't spend time with you at the right time. And then your body keeps, the book, it's like the body keeps the score of that.
Sure.
And it becomes like a small, complicated part of your personality.
Yeah.
So shadow work is like going in and sitting with that part of yourself so you can release this trauma. Like, does that make sense? Because it is weird. We're just here. There's no answers, really. It's kind of irresponsible of God, if there is a God. Well, we're just here and we're not even, there's no instruction. So people are looking for that. What in your time of studying therapy and all that stuff, like, where do you, what can you use that's like, is that stuff okay or not even? You never got into that, eh?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, that's all fine. Like I said, I'm not a therapist, right? So that's not where my degree took me. And so I'm not talking from that position, but I know a little bit about therapy modalities and that kind of stuff. I can talk a little bit about it. As far as what you're talking about there, I mean, you're talking about Teal Swan. Teal Swan doesn't know shit, right? So I look at Teal Swan and I go, well, this is somebody who, who idealizes, suicide and has very big issues with how she relates to people. And I'm supposed to understand that this person has some key understanding of people and life and how things work. Her life doesn't demonstrate that. So why would I possibly believe that she has some special, grip on spirituality or the truth?
Right. I mean, a lot of them, they'll just have good teachings. And then it sounds like with her, maybe it's like, because, and forgive me, I just saw the episode that you guys did today, but like I was watching it earlier and you're just mentioning in it, like exactly what, so I guess a little more of what she actually did. Like I just missed what she did because it seems like her teachings are good.
I'm not going to say that.
Then, no, you don't think so. Okay.
So I'm not going to endorse her teachings in any way. I'm going to say, look, with Teal Swan, you need to be careful.
Yeah, you got to be careful. It's true. Because I feel like then, because with Osho, it was like this. When you watch Wild Wild Country, it's like, you go 2 episodes, you're like, what's the problem?
Yeah, exactly.
This is great.
Exactly. And you would do the exact same. Let me stress this. You would do the exact same thing with Scientology.
Yeah.
Because at the lower levels, they are putting their best face forward.
Right.
They have to, right? This is where the sales job occurs. So everything makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, let's like be real. Scientology has had 70 years to develop their pitch.
Yeah.
And they got a pretty good pitch. I mean, I could sell it. I mean, I don't now, obviously, but it's a sellable thing. that doesn't mean that's what you're actually doing or selling. It's what you're putting out that you're selling, right?
Yeah. It's crazy how the sales is built in.
Part about cults that's so crafty is there's a front layer, a window dressing layer, and then there's what's really going on. And there can be a very hard to describe how wildly different those two things can be.
Yeah. Because you get in, even with Osho, it's like to this day, man, he's incredible. His teachings are good. He's just taking old Zen teachings, old just classics, like stuff from Jesus, like whatever's good. He has good taste to just pick what's amazing and do it. And then you hear like behind the scenes, he was doing all the abusive stuff. So I get, you just don't see it.
Exactly. A lot of people very rightly want to have their emotional needs fulfilled. And they very rightly want to see other people's emotional needs fulfilled too.
Yeah.
Which means not just emotional, but physical comfort, mental, like psychological, right? Like all these things are in a mix. Generally, people want other people to get along.
Yeah.
And so when you put out as a group positive messaging, motivational messaging, this helps people. They're like, yeah, that's right. I am better than I think I am. Because every single person is their own worst critic. We are all built to just bash ourselves all day long.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Right? It's threat assessment. It's fight or flight. It's all that instinctive stuff.
Yeah.
And then you add social hierarchies onto it, and it's like, whoa. So
they're just doing different levels of like when you went in, they're like, you're having trouble with girls, right? And you're like, yeah, how'd you know? That's what a lot of them do. Like even the Osho opening of his discourses, he'll have these rips where he'll start by saying like, you don't know that you're God because you doubt yourself. But what if you remembered in this instant? And it's like, it just goes on this rousing like 2-hour speech, but you're just like, damn, yeah, it is built to make you forget all the time. The Buddha says this too, that the world is just always trying to traumatize you and make you forget.
Well, exactly. And here's the thing. The world is not trying to do anything to you. The world is not a thing. It's not a person. It's not an entity. The world is a vast collection of entities, and every one of them are trying to do their thing.
Yeah.
Like how often during the day are you thinking about other people compared to how often are you thinking about yourself?
That's true. Yeah.
Right. And collectively, we create this, random set of occurrences called a civilization and a society and a culture and all this kind of stuff. And I don't mean to say that it's all just super, super, super random. It's just that there's so many different intent and
true.
And purposes and drives that it looks random. You know what I mean? Because we can process a little bit.
You know what it seems like? You're okay. I agree with you that like, and again, that is one of our mistakes that we make is we start projecting other people attacking us when really they're just thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about us.
Exactly.
But
it's that Hanlon's razor, right? Never assume malice where stupidity
yes. Yeah.
Right. We'll explain it because that's mostly what happens.
That's mostly only 1 in a million is a psycho enough to be a cult leader.
Right.
Everyone else is probably just being like tricked or whatever. It is something that I have to remind myself, even inside of scams too, because a lot of the people trying to sell you the scam, they're scammed.
That's right.
They're selling you to get out of the debt that they got into with the guy above them or whatever,
That's right. Big time. And the genius of these systems of the destructive cults is the cleverness with which people are sold on selling other people and so on and so on and so on. And that's how it progresses, as you really, the groups that really get that down are the ones that really succeed.
Yeah. I'll tell you, now as I'm talking to you today, I feel like I'm closer and closer to joining this guy's. Like, I'm so close to join. I did the sales call and everything with this guy.
Oh, what's this?
Sexy guy. He's so hot. Not that matters that much, but it's weird because within in this video, he's kind of selling these like magical powers. And that is my line. That's why I don't want to go. But at the same time, I do want to get your opinion on this guy. I'm just going to play a little bit of him.
Sure.
Have an intense desire for self-realization. Otherwise, the bliss of emptiness can keep one trapped at this level for a very long time.
So this is a video where, very similar to what they do at Spirit Science. This is a video, just to explain it real quick, is like he's trying to explain like the science of our spirituality, which I love this talk too. That fascinates me. So this is part of his series called Spiritual Intelligence 03. This is the chakra system. He's going through each chakra, and now this is him getting to the last chakra. And then I want you to see the guy too.
Sure.
Finally, we come to the state of mastery, which is the SQ range of 151 to 175. And the identity is, I am the self. This is the level of self-realization, the level of the great sages like Ramana Maharshi and Nisargadatta. It would be difficult to describe the experience at this level if it were not for the writings of the great masters of Tibet and India, who have done a noble job at describing it. The obstacles at this level are the tendency to pursue siddhis, or spiritual powers, which begin to manifest in incredible ways. One can get too focused on cultivating siddhis and lose focus of the ultimate prize.
He's basically saying like, one of the challenges here is that you might get caught up in using your spiritual powers, superpowers. So be careful with that and just, focus on being like enlightened or whatever. But this is the top level of mastery.
God union. One may also have a difficult time with the indescribable bliss of samadhi, which one can easily access at this level. Many people who achieve this level disappear for years, some of them hiding in caves, stuck in deep states of samadhi for weeks at a time, of that chakra.
Look at this guy, though.
And the range begins.
I think it was like $2,000 too, so I couldn't go. But dude, this guy is like 2 steps away from starting a cult, right?
Yeah, I think he's desperately trying to.
He's jacked too.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are actually like in the real world following this guy, but wow, he is really good at saying absolutely nothing.
194K subs.
I mean, what is that? What is he saying?
Maybe I didn't give you enough context on this. He's basically explaining the chakra system, and he like, you could say this is close to like auditing. This is like the new age version of auditing, where they basically give you a measurement. So, and this is another one of the red flags that we've been finding on the show.
Is this an ascendant master system with you rising up the levels?
Yes.
Right. Yeah,
and he's selling the class.
All of this. I mean, if people only knew, I swear to God, all of this existed 120 years ago, right?
Oh,
we have this woman, Madame Blavatsky, and you can go back, and this was a Russian lady, and she was like a 19th, 20th century guru, spiritualist, con artist, and she plagiarized centuries of stuff, put it all together, and a bunch of people like Aleister Crowley and L. Ron Hubbard glommed onto that stuff, and everything this guy is sitting here saying comes right out of that stuff. And I don't even know that he knows that, because it's been regurgitated so many times through the 20th century, right? That it became this spiritual grist mill. I mean, we could throw out these things. Have you ever seen that Deepak Chopra quote?
He's so silly. Which one is it? Tell me.
Right? It's this meme maker or a quote machine that you can it'll just produce random quotes from Deepak Chopra.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
You just throw the right words together in the right way, and people are like, "Ooh, that sounds so cool. He must be saying something important." And it's like, no, he's not saying anything. There's just nothing there.
There's not really, but with Aaron, I gotta say, Aaron. No, but with all of them, I do feel like there's something. So what about Okay, let me show you something. It is the kind of thing you can't prove it though, and all of the masters, they all say that you can't prove it. So this is something that I know it's not science, but it's like, have you ever seen this?
Yeah. What am I looking at here? I'm looking at a colored cone. What am I? Sorry, it's on the other side of the room. What am I? Oh, there it is.
So basically what this is teaching, and this is like the meditation teachings too, and it's similar to like Aaron Apke swears by this.
Oh my God, this is right out of Scientology, dude.
Oh no, you're kidding me.
I'm talking about this scale with these words on this chart like this is okay. Let me just say it's remarkably similar to something called the emotional tone scale in Scientology.
Oh my God. This is made by David Hawkins. Do you know David Hawkins at all? He's a meditation coach.
No, but
Sweet man.
I'll bet you this guy saw L. Ron Hubbard's stuff.
You think, yeah, really? You think this came from L. Ron? But
yeah.
So
there's no question about it. The entire lower scale is ripped right off the tone scale in Scientology.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
The numbers are different, but the shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, courage. I mean, that basically that level, those words almost word for word from Scientology's tone scale. And I'm just not going to chalk it up to coincidence. And the reason why I won't is because these guys rip from each other all the time.
All day.
Right?
I mean, Scientology rips some good stuff, actually. Even we had a guy on, and he was telling some of us some of the teachings, and people in the audience were even like, that's good. I'm going to do that.
Oh, yeah. It sounds great until you actually start thinking about it.
Right.
See, in the moment, lots of words, and again, motivational quotes, right? Serotonin-inducing, dopamine-inducing, states that people get into, right? You get those neurotransmitters firing. People get the feels.
Yeah.
And people believe, and it's just how we have to live our lives. It's not necessarily bad that they do this, but they do it too much.
Yeah.
Is if it feels good, this must be right. This must be true. This must be the thing I need. Yeah. And you try to tell people, look, man, eating a Twinkie might feel good. That doesn't mean it's good for you, Like you gotta really think about why you feel good. And the explanations these people provide are usually batshit crazy. They just don't make any sense.
Yeah, no, but I feel like I can tell the difference between someone who's just like Deepak Chopra does seem like just big word salad a lot of times.
He is.
The universe quiets precious joy.
Yeah, he's here it is. Exactly. Exactly. This is
how can you deny this wisdom? Quantum physics relies on the barrier of success.
Come on, man. Exactly. I mean, this is what I'm talking about.
Interdependence is the ground of intrinsic reality. Of course, this man is brilliant.
Right?
Damn.
Right? And unfortunately, there are too many folks out there who really think these are words of wisdom. It's sad.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I feel like I could tell like this is, but I've always felt like Deepak Chopra is I'm not into it. I never got into his stuff.
No, and you shouldn't. Because he is just word salad.
It is a lot of word salad from him.
And here's the thing: if you go back and you actually listen to L. Ron Hubbard, so is he. But when you're in the headspace where this is a person who can do no wrong, and they are truly an authority figure for you, then you stop thinking so much, and it's a matter of no, I have to accept this and intake this and think deeply on this and contemplate the wisdom of this and make it my own. And there's there's any number of catchphrases you can use for what people tell themselves, but bottom line is these guys mostly utter a bunch of word salad, and the reason why that's good for them to do. Mm-hmm. Because then the followers can interpret it however they want that makes the most sense for them.
Right. Just like the classics, like old religion. It's like, like these guys used to fight over Christianity and Islam, and they could try to pinpoint little things. And these guys, they always had like, it always means something different,
That's right.
Because it's all, I guess poetic language. Yeah, you could get.
Oh yeah,
this is a big issue. Yeah.
There's a guy named Robert J. Lifton. He was a psychology guy, and he studied guys who people who came out of China after the revolution back in the 50s and 60s when they were getting brainwashed.
Right.
And he figured out these 8 points that are common to all brainwashing or thought reform or mind control, whatever you want to call it.
Oh my God.
Language is one of those. Loaded language is one of those points. Language is so important. Okay. My entire research on Scientology for my master's was all about language.
Okay. But then,
And look, I hate to go back to this because I flashed this chart window. I flashed this so many times. I tell people this, and most people are like, yeah, that's it. That's the whole meaning of life. We got to go to the ultimate consciousness, go to the top. This does nothing for you. This is bullshit.
Yeah, no, this is nothing for me.
Oh my God.
Because I don't think about the world spiritually anymore, right? Because to me, you know, what is a spirit? What is spiritual? What does that even mean? You ask 1,000 people, you're going to get 1,000 different answers.
Sure. Okay. And look, this is where the language it has to be poetic though, because the great divine is a great mystery. Because we are made of, so tell me what you think of this theory. And you're ironclad, nothing you have to worry about. So basically what the major teachings, we call it the heart-centered teachings. Heart-centered, no abuse, no telling you I have the answer, no, like you have to listen to me. Heart-centered teachings, my meditation coach calls it that. And it includes like Buddhist, Christ consciousness, which is like one sect of Christianity, Sufism. I have this Rumi Oracle deck. It's incredible. But it's all poetry about love and being one with the divine. Sure. And what they basically say is that your life energy, the thing that's making you alive, that is like one drop of this ultimate consciousness. But this up here, this is a pure loving kindness energy. So one drop of that comes down into earth, into life, and pretends not. And like, you know, and I know you're saying like, sure, other people are not out to get us, but it is a bit of a Squid Game situation where it's like, you're in, go. No, like, where's the rules? Where's everyone's ration of food? Where's, you know, like, sure, no one's trying to hurt me, but, you know, it's tough for people, especially in situations like in China or like just limited resources. Absolutely. And nature can be rough. Like sometimes the animals are like, I got to eat someone. So you're there. So they'll come after you. So basically what this world is it's this kind of like a trauma generating machine. And then you're just here to play this game of like, going through these traumas to make you forget that you are love and that you are this ultimate consciousness, so that you can remember that you're one with God again. You know, like that sure. Ultimate consciousness. So that's the energy that makes you alive. How do you feel about that? Anything? Nothing? No, not really. Nothing's happening.
In terms of what does that do for me emotionally? Not much, right?
Okay. All right.
And that's fine. I'm fine with that doing something for other people. I don't have a thing on that.
Yeah,
I don't claim to have some hold on the ultimate truth of the universe. My position is nobody's got that.
Nobody. Yeah, you're right. But even these people who teach this, they say it's a great mystery and we can't know much. Like, exactly. They're constantly trying to tell you, even within that ultimate consciousness, it's like infinite and like uncomprehendable from where we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can talk about infinite consciousness all day long. I would like personally to figure out what the definition of our consciousness is, just as individuals. What is it? You know, right. What I'll tell you, you really want to start an argument in a psych or such class. Ask what an emotion is.
You know, these guys have a good system of explaining it. It's not bad.
No. There are. I got a paper around here that has 92 different definitions for what an emotion is.
Okay.
There's no shortage of good explanations.
Yeah.
Point is, how come we can't agree on this? How come we can't come down to something solid about us? And it's because we're too complicated.
Because we are God pretending not to be. So we needed it to be an infinitely mysterious game. But who knows? Yeah, there's no way to know.
Maybe, but
there's no way to know.
Yeah. See, my problem is when you start with the conclusion, then everything you're doing is backwards. And my problem with what the thing you were just saying is, well, we are love, we are spiritual, we are part of this ultimate consciousness. Those are factual statements. And I go, well, okay, you're making a very clear-cut factual statement. Do you have anything to show me? Or do I have to take that on faith? And I'm not going to take that on faith. So.
No, it's not. Okay, so this is what the argument would be on that. Is that first of all, it's not factual. Factual is the realm of science, and they're in the realm of spirit, and they don't like those rules don't really apply there. The other thing they'd say is it's based on how you feel. So there's processes of going through it with you,
and then you can feel that love. But you're right, calling it love, that is like, there's no proof of that. That is just coming out of left field a little bit. Some people are into it and some people aren't, and it's one of those things that, but they don't teach it like it's a fact. Like the Zen basically say, one of their most famous poetry things is like where they're trying to teach that not knowing is the most infinite. Is the most intimate. Wow, I sound like Deepak Chopra. Not knowing is the most intimate. It's like a famous Zen poem, but it's about like living in the mystery and not having to have the definite answer for things.
Got it.
But yeah, no, but not. This is nothing. Doing nothing.
Nah, not really.
Okay,
but I'm not, but I think it's understandable, right? I spent 27 years of my life working for a destructive cult, pushing a very spiritual message.
Yes.
And I believed it. I believed it wholeheartedly. With everything in my being, I believed I was an immortal spiritual being who was going to live forever, and I was going to reattain my natural spiritual state.
Yeah.
With Scientology. So I've been all the way down that rabbit hole of belief, and I know what it feels like, and I know what that chase is like, and the quest for that. And I don't knock anybody for doing any of that stuff. I really don't. Of course.
Yeah.
But it's not my thing. I had to get more grounded after that experience.
Yeah. No, good call, man. I mean, it's hard to, I can see that's like its own trauma, it's creating an aversion to it and saying like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And I know a lot of atheists that are like that.
Well, exactly. And for me, and I think for other people that I've run into in the atheist community, although I am not at all trying to speak for all atheists, is, when you see the not just trauma, but when you actually see people with nefarious intent purposefully abusing people for their pleasure, that's where lines are crossed that you can't really forget about.
Yeah.
And David Miscavige, the current leader of Scientology, does that. L. Ron Hubbard did that, right? Yes. The Osho guy, he did that. Jim Jones did that. David Koresh did that. All these guys did. Keith Raniere, right? Jim Baker, etc. Right? On and on and on. These guys, every one of them was either sexually, psychologically, physically abusive, repeatedly with their membership, including children.
Yeah.
And you look at that level of extreme, and that's kind of where I live professionally is looking at that stuff.
Yes.
So I know, I'll just say, right? Yeah. I'm very aware of the fact that I come in with a bias against that level of extremism.
It's good.
And so that's why I don't get easily excited by spiritually minded people saying spiritual things.
That's very good. That's actually great. Yeah. And the thing is that, again, going back to this Buddhist teaching, they all tell you like, don't worry about it. Just live your life. Like they kind of teach, a lot of them just teach that too. They're like, stop with the meditating and the praying and all this shit. It's like, this life is your prayer. Go live it. Go dance. Like a lot of Sufis, they actually teach that God or whatever is you dancing or like you hearing a good piece of music. There's not.
See, that's no solid thing. That's where I live, right?
Yeah, dude.
For me, if there's a spiritual guru, God figure, he doesn't care about whether I'm, jerking off or drinking or taking drugs or doing this or doing that. Why would he?
No. Why would he?
Right? I don't believe in any of that. I do believe that there could be something.
Yeah.
But I believe it would be incomprehensible to us in the same way, how could an amoeba understand us?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Dude, this is it. I'm telling you, that emotional chart, that's it. That's in 10 years. Okay, but we only have half an hour left, so I do have like a couple more questions about Scientology that we got to get through. But
do it.
Like, okay, so here's the thing. You're in there for 10 years, you said, right? And you're working hard.
27.
27 years.
Working for the church.
27. Working 10 years.
27 was 20. Sorry. Okay. When I was 15 years old, I did the personality test. I got on board.
Damn.
When I was 17 years old, I started working for the church, and I did that until I was 42. So that's the 25 years of working for the church, and that
15 until 42.
Yeah, from 15 years old until 40.
Oh.
Yeah. That
wow.
was.
So you've been in the game.
Yeah.
And you got the work ethic. The YouTube is showing it, man. The YouTube is a nice channel.
Thank you.
Let's see that, because that is like, it's a lot. I mean, it's half of what I talk about on this channel. Chris Shelton, MSc, Master of Science, beautiful. Cults, coercive control, recovery. You've talked to Steve Hassan. You've talked to all the people, big people in the community. Great channel, man.
Thank you.
I've seen there's so much to go through. I mean, you're at 345 episodes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Great karmas.
And that's just the podcast. I got a Q&A show that has even more. I think this week was 371 on the Q&A shows.
Amazing. And this is what you're doing full time?
Yeah, this is my job. It's my work.
That's sick, dude. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
But just so 27 years in the game.
Yep.
It's got to be hard to let you go. I mean, you can do all this.
Mm-hmm.
You were probably doing this for them by the time you left, or no?
YouTube, because they're not on the internet, but
they won't do YouTube?
No. Actually,
man, they're falling behind.
I should be clear. There is a guy who's a public Scientologist who has a YouTube channel. And he's producing video content right now. His name is Tampa Brad.
Okay.
And another friend of mine who is a Scientology critic like I am, he is watching that guy's content and creating his own response videos and stuff. I don't generally get into that level of stuff, but I do using. Yeah.
Right. So wait, you're saying that someone from Scientology is doing some kind of like response videos?
No, he's the one producing videos. He's got a YouTube channel where he promotes Scientology.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And then my friend Aaron Smith-Levin is responding to some of his videos and debunking them. Yeah.
That's great. That's good karmas. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm shocked that Scientology is not on top of it, because we've had a bunch of Jehovah's Witness people and a bunch of Scientology people. Scientology is pretty tight.
Yep.
They could really compete. They're really just letting Teal Swan get them, because it sounds like the same recruitment process, and you're just letting Teal Swan, Aaron Abke get these people. Scientology, when they come to YouTube hard as an organization, I feel like they have a future here, especially with all the celebrities they got. They're not even leveraging that.
Well, they are on YouTube. Okay, let's be clear. There is a Scientology website. It's been around for years.
Oh my God. It's going to suck, though.
Oh, no. Go to Scientology.org. You'll be impressed.
Oh, really? Okay, it's not like those old 80s like videos.
Oh, no. Now, it's got a lot of shit videos on it, but they're not from the 80s. No, they're very modern. They're very current. But they're
yeah, that's type production value. That is good production value right there.
Yeah, they definitely have good production values. What they don't have is anything relating to resembling common sense. So
yeah. When you start getting to the Thetans, I mean, honestly, like, this is why I feel like more Hollywood people are into Buddhism than they're into this. But this is like they got a big hold, these guys. Like, the Buddhists are never going to make you do anything like this.
No, exactly. They're very controlling, and Tom Cruise is the worst example of that. And it's pretty sad,
Wow, David Miscavige. Yeah, Cruise still in the game, eh? Did you see Top Gun, or were you like,
No.
I'm not watching that shit?
No.
Couldn't watch it, eh?
No. I know
it is war propaganda. I watched it. I was like, okay, it's good. I know everyone loves it, but it's like, they're really brainwashing you to love this U.S. military. They're acting as if they go on these righteous missions.
Yes.
It's not righteous like this. I can't even tell everyone because the movie's so goddamn tight. The opening of the movie, he does a 5-minute little talk at the beginning. It's like, hi, I'm Tom Cruise. We worked really hard on this movie, and I think you guys are going to love it. I swear, that's how he opens the movie in theaters. It's unprofessional, but it's like it's like such a badass move, because it's like you're not supposed to break the fourth wall.
Yeah. Well, he's got a very winning smile, and he fools an awful lot of people with that. But I always try to take my time to mention that Tom Cruise is personally a real monster. The guy is just not a good guy.
Oh, really?
No, he's not a good guy.
They just seem like sweethearts.
His daughter in like 10 years because of Scientology beliefs.
Oh my God.
I relegated, he kicked his niece out of the family for a couple years because she kissed a boy in his house. I mean, and by kicked out of the family, I mean, literally kicked her out of the family.
How old was she?
She was 14 or 15, I think, at the time.
Man, you're in Hollywood.
Yeah,
you think a 14-year-old's not going to make out with a guy? You're crazy.
She had to go live with a family friend on the other side of the country and spent 2 years making up the damage to Tom Cruise before she was let back into the family.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't know. He is so goddamn charming. Yeah, you open the video. This is the face of U.S. military.
That's right. Oh, people love him, but he's a monster. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, no, that is some cult shit. You know, like he's really learning from the pros, because kicking
right.
out the family member, like there's so many different levels of brainwash there. You're kicking out the daughter. You're doing a power move on her parents. You're saying she's out and you're still with me. That's so fucked up, man. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, though. The great production value on the website. Yeah, when you start talking about thetans, it's like, guys, you're crazy. It's loving kindness. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, no, it should be. But this is actually a fantastic website. So you never got into the media stuff with these guys?
No, not really. I did do recruitment. I did public facing speaking, but a lot of what I did was management of the churches. I did that for about 8 years, and I made books. I worked at the in-house publishing facility they have.
Wow.
And I recruited people. And by recruited, I mean, I recruited not just off the street to make new Scientologists. I mean, I recruited people who are already Scientologists.
That's great. That's
to come work for the church.
Yeah. You're the guy that goes to a local event and says, I like the cut of your jib. You got a real good personality. I can see you going places at the Sea Org. Let's go.
That's right.
Wow, you know all the skills you need to make a good YouTube. Yeah. It's like you got the recruitment, everything. It's all transferable.
I guess, yeah. Now I just try to educate.
That's good though. No. Well, that's the thing. They're training their own worst enemies. Like they're training people, and it's like them inside and out. 27 years you're in the organization, but it's got to be hard to let a guy like you go. Like, I mean, what's the resistance you're facing? Is it gone now? Or is it like this is so public? You're just making a full YouTube channel about it. Do they kind of give up on you at some point as you're leaving? Is there another guy? Like, was there a guy who recruited you? Who's like, hey, I brought you in.
Oh, yeah.
Have respect.
No, let me tell you what happened. Okay, so I was in for a long time, right? The guy who got me in was long since gone.
Okay.
I kind of really got myself in more than anybody else when it came to getting up to the Sea Org. I sort of put myself there. But after 17 years of the Sea Org, I'd been through a lot of shit. And I've described it all on my channel and stuff. Way too much to talk about here. Just a lot of stuff. I endured a lot of crap. And the internal workings of Scientology was becoming clearer and clearer to me that it was way money oriented. I didn't join Scientology to help it make money. I was trying to help people. And I was one of those people who was truly deceived by the entire picture. I honestly thought, in a very naive fashion, but I honestly believed it, that we were saving the world and that was the work I was doing. And so even when it was sucky work, even when it was like difficult, even when it was grueling, we were saving the world. So it was worth it.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So 17 years of that. And, my marriage went up and down and there were all kinds of other troubles, but the organization dominated my entire existence. And all I did was work for Scientology. So one fine day, and there were a number of nails in the coffin. It's not just one thing, with a dedication like that, it's not going to be just one thing. And it wasn't for me, but I'll tell you the final thing.
Right.
Was I was pretty disaffected with the organization, but I still believed L. Ron Hubbard spoke the truth. And I still believed that the principles of Scientology were true, even if organizationally we weren't doing that great, right? Because there's a difference between those two things. And I thought I could differentiate those, and I could accept that people were screwing up in the organization. I would not have accepted at that point that there was something wrong with Scientology as a belief set, right?
Right.
But at that point, I was figuring out my day one fine day. I was on a special project out in Twin Cities, out in Minnesota. And I'd been out there for quite a while doing recruitment and doing recoveries and doing some other kind of work. And I was lining up my day, and I thought to myself, hey, wait a minute. Wait a second. Like, it hit me. I'm lining up my day to lie to people more than I'm going to be telling them the truth in order to get them to do what I want them to do. join staff, pay for
Right.
service, come in, do whatever it was I wanted them to do.
Yeah.
I was going to have to deceive them.
Right. It's
And
built into the curriculum, the classes, or the, the
very
teaching.
much
Yeah.
so. Yeah, very much so. And I, you know, like I said, it just kind of hit me. It's like one of those moments where it's like finally enough lies, enough bullshit, and it was like, oh my God, wait a minute, what am I doing here?
Wow.
And again, this was not the only nail in the coffin. It was a 10-year process for me to kind of figure out what I was in the middle of. And
the realizations come in an instant, in a flash.
Yeah, exactly. And this particular one was quite important. And this was at the end of 2011. And there had been some other things that were happening. You know, it was my birthday. It was a reflective time of the year for me. And I was 42. I was pretty unhappy with things. My marriage wasn't going great, too. She was another Sea Org member. We were apart a lot.
Yeah.
That really wore the marriage down. It wasn't that we didn't get along so much as we were just apart so much.
Why not make you work together? Such a weird thing to do.
It's all about control, man. It's all about
right.
control, right? And sex is very much used in Scientology to control people. So, you know, and I could go on a whole thing about that. But for right now, with this thing, it was the lies.
Yeah.
And it was the realization of the lies. The like, oh. And this is part of why I've now come to a place where I kind of try to describe this to people. And I say, look, here's what has to happen. It's going to be unique and different for every single person. But no matter who they are, what level they're at, or what's going on, the thing that's going to get you out of the cult is to have that moment, have that realization. It is an undeniable moral transgression has to occur, which you cannot dismiss. You can't rationalize it away.
Yeah.
You know, they tell you that you can't talk to your mom anymore. They kick you out. They take all your money, right? They engage in credit card fraud. They abuse a kid in front of you. They abuse your kid. I mean, there's a lot of different ways this can happen in all of these different groups. But somehow, some way, you experience an unforgivable moral transgression, which you cannot deny happened. And once that happens, however it does, you start thinking differently about the group.
Yeah.
And that's the beginning. And maybe it will take more than one of those, but every one of them counts. They're all milestones in your road out of the cult. And that's what gets people out. And for me, there were a lot of them, but the final one was the lies and the dishonesty and just the obsession with money. Yeah. Over the time period that I was in, it got worse.
Oh my God.
You know,
they're just grabbing money.
Yeah, and now I've been documenting this on my channel recently. Scientology from 2014 to 2019 engaged in a nationwide credit card fraud with Chase Bank and Navy Federal Credit and a bunch of other places. So they're really not doing well right now. And it was that whole thing was just history repeating itself. Scientology is engaged in fraud many times.
Wow.
You know,
I think Top Gun's doing well, you know?
Right?
That's the legal fees. This is what Tom Cruise gets in the end. It's like, that's all going to Scientology.
Yeah, kind of.
You know, those kind of like really abusive things, they almost seem like a double-edged sword. Like, on the one hand, are they not doing the abusive thing to be like, you're in for life? Like, you're mine. So, because it seems like Jehovah's Witness does this too. They have this whole game they play with these kids where they go, you're out of the organization. And then a week, they know you're going crazy. So then a week later, they go, do you want to get back in? Okay. You're like, your family has shunned you. You have nobody. And it's not a week later. I think they wait a couple of months and then they start putting out these little offers to get back in. So what they put is your brain is in this constant cycle of like losing the approval. And then 6 months of your life has been, how do I get the approval back? Right. So it's interesting. It does seem like a double-edged sword, the whole abuse thing. Were you specifically given instructions like, okay, this guy's been in here for 2 years, execute abuse plan 2A, tell him that he's not allowed to talk to his mom for 2 weeks and make sure he proves it, or something? Like, what is that? Like, what does that look like? Or is it just, or do people just subconsciously do it to you? Like the idea that you and your wife are separated. on the one hand, it seems like a really smart organizational cult, evil, but very smart thing to do. It's like Nityananda does this. He sees two people in love. He goes, separate them.
Yep.
Have a child with her sister. It's crazy. Just how do I mess with them? And how do I break any other love except the love for me?
That's right.
Was this was it basically like the organization's full of a bunch of psychos who can just jazz it? Because Nityananda's jazzing it. He's crazy. I don't know if you've heard of him. I
have. I've interviewed Sarah Landry on my channel. Yeah, she was awesome describing that whole thing.
Yeah, that guy. He's like jazz. It's just like off the top. He's just doing these little abusive, like weird things that are like, okay, now you're going to be hooked for life. With Scientology, is it in the system? Because Lifespring, actually, the girl who was in Lifespring, Alicia Archer, she was saying that her parents raised her because her dad made Lifespring. So when she was growing up, they raised them like Lifespring. So they would be like, oh, you're having negative emotions. And the chart would be on the wall at home. And they'd be like, okay, you have to leave the house now for 2 hours or whatever. Like when the kid's like,
well, Scientology doesn't translate that exactly, but it does definitely have a rigid system of discipline and justice. There's an internal justice system. And if you break the rules, if you get out of line as a Scientologist, then they will punish you. And there's a whole system for that. And it's a graduated series of steps. It's all documented and laid out. And it doesn't involve ritual spankings or something like that. It's more generalized. There are things like a court of ethics that you could get called to where charges will be brought and you'll have to answer for them. Or there's a committee of evidence, which is even more serious.
Right.
And, you could end up getting kicked out and getting what's called declared suppressive in Scientology. They call you a suppressive person and they kick you out, and that's final. And when they do that, there is no coming back. They don't.
Oh, really?
No, they don't call you in 2 weeks or any of that kind of stuff. Once you're dead to them, you are forever dead to them, unless you do a series of steps called the A to E steps, A, B, C, D, E.
They give you an in. There's
do.
always an in because you got to get the numbers up. What's this kicking people out?
Oh, no. Nobody does A to E. I mean, I know 2 people in 27 years who did A to E.
Oh, A to E is like Navy SEALs.
Yeah,
it's like you can't even.
You got to jump through so many hoops. You have to pay a bunch of money. You got to start all over again from the bottom. I mean, there's just a number of things you have to do, but basically you have to grovel and propitiate yourself in a really, really gross way in order to even get through those steps. And that's why a lot of people don't do it, right? Because what happens is they get kicked out of the church, and then they're finally allowed in their own mind to go read critical information about Scientology, because you're not allowed to when you're in.
Right.
If you're reading anything on the internet about Scientology, you are going to be in so much trouble as a Scientologist.
You're not allowed. Yeah. Okay.
You're not allowed. And you learn to self-police. It's not a matter of you're sneaking around. If you're doing that, you're already off the rails as a Scientologist.
Right.
Right? A good Scientologist never does that.
Wow.
So
that's the teaching.
You're trying to be the good Scientologist. And that means you don't ever connect yourself with a suppressive person. Well, what's a suppressive person? It's somebody who doesn't like Scientology.
Yeah, basically.
Somebody who speaks out publicly against Scientology.
Yeah.
Right? And that now you're labeled a suppressive person. So if I'm trying to be a good Scientologist, I can't connect myself with a suppressive. So I would never go watch Chris Shelton's channel. I would never go look at Leah Remini's documentary. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
You see, that's how they control the information.
That's how they control the information. They don't let you. So they're not doing this because Jehovah's Witness, man, it's all just a game. You're out, but like maybe we'll let you in, and then you're obsessed with them. You're just spending 3-4 years of your life. Like there's people that get kicked out and they spend 2 years like, I got to get back in. I can't talk to my family. Even the one guy we had on, he's like 30, he had a kid, and he's like, I miss my family. So I'm not allowed to talk to a family.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are, it's such a weird thing. I guess they're not just blind numbers. It's got to be like brainwashed numbers. You got to be fully in. No out, back in. And now that you're out, so then no harassment either. Then that's good. Then they don't try to come back and say, Chris, come back. You haven't done your karmas.
Yeah. Now, of course, there is harassment.
Right.
It's just not harassment to come back.
Right.
I have been harassed by the Church of Scientology. There's a hate website on the internet all about me.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, that's super exciting, especially because it has video from my ex-wife on it trashing me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what happens.
They could have just been so much more positive and like kept you two as like the power couple, an example of a power couple, have a ton of kids. Like, why go in this direction? Does it basically get to a point where they're like, look, Sea Org number one, you have to like, you must like your next post is in Ohio and yours is in wherever, and you're not allowed to see each other? Is that it? Was it just all business?
That's how it is.
Right, that's it, eh? Okay.
That's how it is. The Sea Org put Scientology first in every equation. Scientology, and the Sea Org is what runs all of Scientology.
Yeah.
So you basically have a group of about 4,000, we're estimating right now, 4,500 people worldwide who make up the Sea Org.
How many? Sorry, say that again.
About 4,500 people.
4,500, yeah. In the Sea Org. Okay, and then what's the Scientology at large? Then
about 30 to 35,000.
That's it?
That's it.
That's low, man. I think Jehovah's Witness in the millions.
Oh, yeah, it legitimately is. Scientology's tiny.
Tiny, but they got all these celebs.
Never been millions of Scientologists.
This can be broken in our lifetime.
Yeah, they never happened. That may or may not be true, actually, but we're hoping. We're always.
I mean, the people that are in, man. It's hard to leave when you've dedicated your whole life to them. You know, that's the thing.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience, that's very true.
Yeah.
But they are collapsing right now, and we'll see how long it takes. I'm not predicting that they're going to be gone next year. But Miscavige, the guy who's running the thing right now, has been making some seriously stupid moves.
Wow.
And this is all documented on recent interviews on my channel with people who have escaped recently. And I'm now actually, for the first time, talking to people who are still in.
Wow.
And they're not still Scientologists, but they still are pretending to be because they realized from inside, you know, just like I did, oh, this is bullshit. But these guys we're in touch with are staying inside
to break it down
so that they don't know. Yeah. And they're contacting us and giving us all the skinny.
Wow. That's so much good karmas because they have to basically keep the full Scientology schedule 80, 90 hours a week. So Sea Org is what, 95 hours a week?
About 9,500 hours a week. It's tough work, man.
So these guys are doing 100 hours a week for Sea Org and then 10, 20 hours. I mean, you know, they got to come back and tell you what's going on.
That's wild.
That's great.
Wild. Yeah, we got some interesting stuff going on, but Scientology is just one of thousands of destructive cults out there, right? And that's really, I talk about Scientology because that's what I was raised with, but from my position now, I'm covering the whole spectrum of these groups, right? And I don't, there's so many of them, it's not a matter of I'm going to recognize the name of every one of them. That's just silly because there's just too many, but I'm trying.
Like LifeSpring, large group awareness training, LGAT, and these guys, it's all same training. You guys have auditing, they call it this other thing, but it's basically these success coaching classes.
That's right. Well, let me share a little bit of trivia with you real fast because we're gonna have to get going.
Yeah, you got to go.
When EST first started in the 70s,
right,
and that's what turned into Landmark and Landmark Forum and LifeSpring and all this other crap. A lot of that came from EST, and a lot of EST came from Scientology, so much so that in the original EST seminars that lasted for like 3 or 4 days, the Scientology dictionaries are what they used to define the words they were using in the EST seminar.
Oh my God. So they're using thetans and all this stuff.
Yeah, they were using Scientology terminology in the beginning of the S stuff because they were ripping it off so blatantly is what I'm trying to say.
They just rip it off. They're psychos.
Just ripped it off.
That's the NXIVM guy too. The NXIVM guy just took it off.
There's so much Scientology in NXIVM.
Wow. Chris, thanks for coming, man. You got to do it again sometime. This is amazing.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can do topics in the future or something, but it's just great chatting with you. Fascinating. And you're a powerful spiritual teacher, even though you're not going for it. It's good. You know, you got to tell people to think for themselves and, you know, do all that stuff. So really appreciate you coming by and
awesome,
thanks.
Man.
Yeah.
You bet.
Everyone check out Chris's channel. I'm gonna share it right now with the community.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, I will see everybody later.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Peace. Have fun. Chris is running off, but here's the channel. Let me play a little. Wow, 2 episodes today. That's a wild episode. I mean, that's a lot. 20. Like, we're talking 15, 20 years in the game, 100 hours a week. So now he's got the work ethic. And you've created a monster here, people. Look at this. And they're not even trying to get him back. Foolish. They're idiots. If they were smart, they'd be messaging him and being like, hey, man, come back. Let us pay you, dude. 39.4. Like, if I was in Scientology right now, I would be messaging him, messaging Leo Romini, be like, how much money do you need? Because we can make this YouTube channel mandatory subscribers. That's it. You'd be at 4,500. Minimum Sea Org, that's another 4,500 subs. Bing, bang, God is great. And then whatever the 30,000. It's still not even a good YouTube channel, though. All of the Scientology, it's not even a YouTube channel. How are these guys making such a stink, man? They're aggressive. They're really good. I guess they're good at the media. You know, they're good at that. They're good at the brainwashings. That is wild that a small group can make so much, can do so much. Powerful website. How to stay well, Prevention Resource Center. Hey, we need a prevention from you guys, you psychos. Look at this.
I started becoming a...
Very well shot. Very well put together. Fundamentalist. The fundamentals of thought. Wow. This guy, this L. Ron Hubbard, so started out. Like, the shocking thing about this is how much, like, I'm just finding in common with these people. Like, I mean, this like career that L. Ron Hubbard has, this is my career. I'm writing kids TV. It's like the major show that I'm writing is like science fiction-ish, and it's kids show, and it's like, it's a grind, people. You know, and sometimes I just think, let's build this digital ashram, people. Let's build it up. But no, we would never cross the line and do these vicious things that these people have done. It's terrible. There's like so much wisdom in the cult, in being in a cult too. Because once you're in one, then you see the brainwashing everywhere. I was really trying to convince him with the meditation techniques, but he wasn't having it. You know what? I get it. You're not just gonna be like, yeah, okay, let's do Buddhism now. Some people do. Some people are like, I can't. I'm not gonna do another one. Thanks everyone for coming in. You are loved. Jamie for real, MLIS. All Scientologists get contacted ad infinitum. So yeah, that is really hurting them. I mean, this is why they only have 30,000 people. These guys. Why are you kicking people out? Not that I'm trying to build your cult or anything, but it's like, are you stupid? You're kicking people out, and the A to E process is impossible. This is where the JWs, they get millions. Because JWs, their whole kicking out, it's just another brainwashing plan. It's just another, like, let them suffer a year without us, shunned, and then they'll be fully in. You know what I mean? But whereas these guys, they really want you out. And then they're spending their time trying to attack you. That's ridiculous. MLIS, what does MLIS stand for? Just try to get off their mailing list. You can't do it. Yeah. No, they don't care. Buddy, do not, and this is a very powerful public service announcement we learned today. Do not give your credit card to the Sea Org, people. Do not give it to the Sea Org. It's been a lot. Please, Martin says it's been a long time coming. Thanks for coming, baby. Appreciate it. Hail Hydra vibes. God is great. Jamie for real. MLIS. That is our show, everybody. So much to think about. Natalie Grand is here, author of Cult Girls. Landmark recruiters were like Scientologists. They credited their success to it. Yeah. Landmark, man. I know so many Landmark people. I got to check up on my friend who's in Landmark. And I did go to the Zoom one. But now that I'm learning more about, because at the time I went to the first Zoom seminar of her Landmark. And I remember I got on the phone with her and I was like, she just seemed so cool. And she was so like Yeah, man, I'm a lead actor now. She was like, I'm a lead actor. And I'm like, what does that mean? You're a lead actor? It's like, no, I'm a lead actor. Oh, also, I'm taking this Landmark Forum. You got to come. You got to come to Landmark Forum. They taught her to start calling herself lead actor. She didn't book any lead actor parts. They just, part of their training was start calling yourself lead actor. That's what she called, like, and I should have known, because no actor would just be like, yeah, I'm lead actor. Nobody says that. But anyway, thanks for coming, everyone. You are loved. I'm going to read a couple more comments, and then we're going to get out of here. Spicy Kirby, bros got sleeper cells, LMFAO. Yeah, pretty much. Jamie, for real, local orgs are run nearly the same, though. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they have like a full, they got like a recruitment system. They got a very clear, you know. Share Core is here. Share, thanks for coming. Empress Lane, you reach, thank you. Natalie Grant says, shunning is so inhumane. Jehovah's break up marriages if one spouse leaves the faith. That's rough. I mean, it's hard to stay married if like one's in, one's out. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's terrible either way. Bolt, the congregation has been blessed with many great guests. Yes, Bolt, we had a great guest today. He really good talker too. Like you can see the training, you know, with all of Natalie Grand. You can see the like it just gets so much out. Like when you work that much, you can still work that hard. It is a bit of a superpower. You know, you don't even have to look at it as like a waste of time. It's like it is like getting a law degree, except you can't use it, but you have a lawyer level of work. Like look at this YouTube channel. It's crazy. He's got like hundreds. He's at episode 345. He's not even at episode 345. He's at 371. So 371 on the Q&As is Chris Shelton. And then Sensibly Speaking podcast, he's at 347. This man is working hard. You created a monster, Sea Org. Please, Morton is here. Thanks for coming. Henny Sinkoff says, your heart led to a belief that of helping the betterment of life and society that this cult took advantage of for the benefit of aligning their product. It's just discussing and abusive. Yes, Henny is absolutely correct. Thank you, Jamie, for real. Thanks for coming in. Raziel the Great. There's a big Scientology office here in Miami, and every time I drive by, I can't help but yell, "It's a cult!" Yeah, dude. Listen, man, what are they at? Like 30,000? It's nothing. Are you kidding me? And it is abusive to the people that do get caught up. Stephen Elliott says, I wonder why the marriage wasn't working. Yeah, I wonder why. Jeez. Both. Please, Martin, share core. Yeah, thanks, everyone, for coming. I'm going to be back again tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. with Chrissy Sharma, great comedian in Toronto. We're going to talk about her spiritual... We might get into a little bit of spirituality talk, but you know, the whole point of the morning, like it's not dogmatic. The morning daily is like a daily inspiration. Like I'm trying to inspire myself by getting off my ass and doing a little more because like, you know, it's like I said, it's, you know, it's hard being a writer too. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of like vibration raising activities, a lot of reaction videos, a lot of like, you know, if we see people in the society fighting too much, we're going to say, hey, no fighting, you know, very vibration raising activities, very like mood boosting activities that you can watch first thing in the morning. And then you go on with your day and you got a little boost in the day. That's it. That's all it is, people. So yeah, thanks for coming and drop in tomorrow morning. Rohit Paul, thanks for coming. Yeah, drop by tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Chrissy Sharma, great comedian in Toronto. We're going to be talking about some of the things she does to raise her vibration, but also we got to talk about this Henan, China. Oh God, it's rough what's happening in the world right now. So we're going to talk about that, and that is like an authoritarian. It's cultish, so fits. We'll talk about that in the morning, and I got a couple of other banger clips for you guys. But thanks again for coming. You are loved. You know. Take care of yourself. And hey, remember, it's a cult. Scientology, it's a cult. All right, peace.